Hi, it's Russ from Protos Expert, and I've got myself a copy of Ozone 6 by iZotope. Now, it comes in two flavours, Ozone 6 Advanced and Ozone 6 Standard, and as I'm going through this version of it, which is the advanced version, I'll tell you some of the differences as we go, but you should check the website when you download the demo to see the differences. Straight away you can see it's got a brand new GUI. It's a completely redesigned workflow. And for those of you that are used to using Ozone 5, it's going to take a little time to get used to, but it's not that hard when you start to work your way around it. So I want to kind of give you the highlights. I'm not going to give you a full tutorial on this. I'm going to show you the GUI and how that's working, and then show you some of the great things you can do now. The one thing straight away you'll see is I'm using it in standalone mode, and I have my components here at the bottom which I can add and remove. And if we go to insert a module, I can use their modules, so equalizer, exciter, imager, dynamics, dynamic EQ, post equalizer, and maximizer. Now dynamic EQ is in the advanced version only. Now the other thing as well, if I click here, I can then access third-party plugins as well. So as you can see in this chain, I've got myself a copy of ATR 102 from UAD, which is in my processing chain. Now looking at the top as well, there's a few nice features. We've got tabbed workflow, so I've got two tracks in there, and I can work between track 1 and track 2, and I can do things like loudness checking. Now one of the really nice features as well is if I come here, I can work out my chain in this first one, then I can go to browse that, and I can save it as a preset, which I've done there. I've called it album. Then I can come to this one, and I can just go in and open up the album preset there, and now I've got that preset applied to both tracks in the album. Another nice feature as well at the top, as you can see on the timeline as the audio is going across, we can also edit a little bit here. Some basic editing, we can move the start and the end points, which is good if you're doing mastering, if you do fade in and fade out there as well. So if you've been sent stems that aren't quite clean, you can come in and go and edit those as well. Then you also have on this side the dither option, where you can open. It's got a comprehensive dither section, 24-bit, 20-bit, 16-bit, 12-bit and 8-bit. The amount of dither, the noise shaping, and the bit meter. Then you can limit the peaks in there as well, and you can filter the DC offset. Then we have switch that on and off. We got mono and stereo options, so we can quickly check stuff. If I just play something now, for example, on this equalizer. Drop it into mono to check it if I want to. So mono summing. You can swap left and right. One of the nice features as well is this new feature when if you hit bypass, it does an automatic leveling using this feature here, so that if you switch between the bypass and the original, it does some auto leveling, so you don't have the loudness difference that can sometimes deceive you into thinking one thing sounds better than the other when all it's done is got louder. So that's a nice feature, and that works very well. So if I put this on now, so you can actually hear now that the original one is actually louder than the one I've worked on. But if we turn this on, and then we can switch to the other one, and that will play. Magnify your name. Magnify your name. So we can do all that kind of stuff. Now the metering's nice as well. I've got two kinds of meters. Magnify your name. The standard meters, and then you've got the combined meters. Magnify your name. And we can alter the input and the output gain, so we can make sure there's not too much clipping there. There's a great selection of presets built in, and you can go through them, and there's balancing stuff, then there's light stuff. We can try some of those as it's playing. And then again, we can try that with the bypass mode and make sure that the ear is switched on. Let's talk about some of the highlights. One of the highlights I like is the images section. And that will allow me to deal with the stereo width across a multi-band situation. One of the things I like to do, one of the tricks I like to do when I'm doing things in mixes and mastering, is I like to push out the top end and pull in the bottom end. So we can do that, so we can push it out. So you can do things like that. Now the other one as well is nice, is dynamic EQs. I'm a big fan of these anyway. I use them all the time. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to be able to cut or boost frequencies and then add compression on it as well, so it doesn't get overcooked. So we can do things like we can So you might have a track where where the vocal starts to really thrap it in the middle of the track, or the guitar does, and you want to have the boost early on, but you also want to make sure that it doesn't overcook it. And so you can use the dynamic EQ. You can also inverse that as well, so you can either send it up or down. So we played it now. You can see it's getting. You see that's compression going on there. And that has general things like analog or digital style EQs. It has Baxendale bottom end, Baxendale top, Q, peak and bell, shelf, so we could choose that instead of peak bell EQ. So on the quieter bits, that will not do as much. When our friends have gone. Of course, you could use it for de-essing a vocal that you've been sent that's just got a bit of sibilance that you need to clean up, and it's a great way of doing that even in a completed mix. You can run that in stereo. You can use it in mid-side processing as well. That's always nice when you want to push guitars out to the sides. Now another highlight, of course, is been able to use any plugin I want within the chain in this standalone version. So as I say, I can come in and I can come into my, for example, ATR 102 from UAD. I use that a lot on mixing and mastering. When our friends have gone, and the Mike Paul presets are particularly the ones I use. And my foes are great. I can run to you. We can bring those in and take them out as we wish to. So having that in a standalone version is very nice, especially if you're a mastering engineer. But again, sometimes having a door around you when you're trying to do some mastering can be just a bit distracting. So having this as a standalone is really nice. And to be able to do some basic editing in this. And also one other feature I like, which is nice in the standalone version, of course, is also that I can also insert, for example, I could insert a iZotope plugin of its own. So I could come in and I could, for example, go through and declick or declip and anything like that. So that's very nice as well. Or if there's hum on it, we could put the hum removal, and so, or denoiser or decrackle. So if you're doing some restoration and you want to have a one-stop solution, then you could use this to host both RX and to host Ozone at the same, and use Ozone at the same time. So it's very nice to be able to have that all in one place. It's pretty straightforward to get round. As I say, you just plug and play stuff and bring them in and out. They've improved the sound as well, and they have. I think one of their quotes is that it's both analog and digital EQ. I think what they really mean is that you get the sound of analog, but the power of digital, be able to hone in on stuff in a kind of precision way. It really does deliver on that. I think it's a great update. When I first saw it, I had a sneak preview of this some time ago, and when I first saw it, I was so used to Ozone 5, I wasn't sure about this, but I have to say that having used it, it is easier to get around, and having the power to use it in standalone and having the power to use plugins that aren't part of their audio processing is really nice. Also being able to switch between the tracks you're working on is very nice too. I think if I had a couple of gripes, one of them I think you just saw, that if you click on something that's got a a third-party plugin is, it keeps appearing every time you do that as you switch between those. So I hope they can do something to stop that happening. It's not a showstopper, but it's slightly annoying. I also think that if they're aiming this at mastering people, the idea of having everything on one timeline as different parts of the project would be nice, so that these would all appear and you could sort of fade in and out and stuff like that. So that would be a step in the right direction as well. Another highlight is this segmentation on the timeline. I don't know if you can see that there. It's changing color, and it kind of goes through and does a smart check of the track, and it sort of splits up the track. So I have to say it's pretty accurate actually. So here's the breakdown. So you can go through that. So that's very nice as well. That's a really nice feature in it. It's a small addition, but it really helps. The other nice thing, of course, is the history. You can go back and you can just switch between different parts of the chain and just go back and see if that change you spent an hour working on really made much difference. Sometimes that's a really telling thing to use. Those couple of minor gripes, as I say, being able to see all the audio on one timeline would be nice for mastery if you're working on an album project. So in all, it's a great package. It's more than a visual makeover, it's a workflow makeover, it's a sound makeover, and it's well worth checking out the demo. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.